Hey everyone, and welcome to the RDG Sports Channel with your boy RDG. I am in the building and glad to be here. And although I am not happy, I still want you to hit that like, share, and subscribe button and hit that notification button also. If you're new to the channel, just joining, you like this video, by the end of this video, if you like it, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that notification button so you'll be up on when I drop a new video. Let's get right into it. Where do I start? I got an abundance of notes, and I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to talk about the first half, then I'm going to break it down, and I'm going to talk about the second half. Let's start off with the first half. It's no secret the first half belonged to London and Bijohn Robinson. The defensive line they was getting manhandled out there all day long. The Atlanta offensive line was whooping their ass. What happened to Big Kinlaw, the most powerful man on the planet? You know, the most gigantuous guy that they was bragging on, raving about the first 3 games. He was impressive. But this game, he got his ass whooped. Deron Payne got his butt whooped. Bobby Wagner, slow. Why would you put Bobby Wagner on a Bijohn Robinson out there in the flat? For the life of me, I don't know. I can't answer those questions. Only Joe Whitt can. Only Joe Whitt. Cliff Kingsbury, 3rd and 1 call was a head-scratching call early in the first quarter. Why? That's all I want to say. Why? He has one later on in the game, but we're talking about right now. That 3rd and 1 call was a head-scratching moment for me. I don't understand Cliff Kingsbury. He was very conservative. It's like he look at the team rankings and forget what got him there. You know, he forget what got him there. I think Cliff Kingsbury is the type of offensive coordinator. He called the game based on the other team's rankings. If they're like a top 5 defense, he goes into a shell. But if they're 30th ranked defense, all cards are open. All cards are open. McCaffrey, just want to know that he got his second touchdown of the day, of the year, I mean. And McCaffrey played a pretty decent game, you know. The kickoff coverage wasn't good in the first half at all. The kickoff coverage, Atlanta was starting from at least the 35 to 40 yard line at will every time. And that's not, when your defense is already struggling, you only giving Atlanta, all they got to do is then move the ball about 25 yards and they're already in field goal range. So that's a score right there, you know, already. That's 3 points. You know, all they got to do is just get close, you know, and that's a score. But then, hey, we already know the field goal is going to be a bookend. Let's just try to be more aggressive when we get in that area. That's why they was like something like 4 for 5 in the red zone or 4 for 6 in the red zone this game. I mean, you have all the confidence in the world that you know their defense is not going to stop, and you know that their defense is pretty much containing the Commanders' offense, keeping them at bay. So yeah, you can afford to be aggressive, and that's what Atlanta did. They played off of the Atlanta's defense because they was aggressive. I mean, because they held our offense at bay. So Atlanta was able to do some things on offense, you know, that allowed them to feel confident and free because of the way their defense was playing. Their team responded, our team didn't. Our team was still following the high of last week, you know, against the Raiders, and for the first half, it got to show up. You know, especially that defense. The defense was playing like ass. Couldn't get no pressure on Michael Penix. He had all day to throw. Lattimore looked washed up. Sanders still has to get better. Although he had an interception, he still has to get better. You know, he gotta have better awareness out there. You gotta know where you are at on the field. Gay had made a field goal. He made all his field goals today, and we desperately needed all of those field goals. So shout out and kudos to Gay. I know I've been hard on him. Still want him cut because you got to be consistent. I want to see consistency, and then you'll shut my mouth up with the being cut speech. So shout out to him. I'll get praises when it's due, but you got to show me consistency, or I'm going to keep on saying I'm going to lead the campaign of cutting Gay. Big Eddie Goldman with a tackle for a loss on Bijohn Robinson. That was a huge tackle. Shout out to Big Eddie Goldman. A draw play on second down in the 2-minute drill is a head scratcher moment, and then a sack get called after a timeout. It's just puzzling. Things like that of that nature. I think Mariota as a quarterback, as a leader, you got to play a little bit better than what he did in the first half. A lot of head-scratching plays out there. My overall first half assessment of the team was that we was a step slower than Atlanta. Just like we was against the Packers. I don't know. I don't want to say it, but I'm going to pose the question anyway. Is old age a factor? Because we looked at very slow on defense. That front seven looked at very slow on defense. And those guys in the back end couldn't cover for long. London had his way with whoever they put on him. It didn't matter if it was Amos, Lattimore, Samberstill, the 92 Deion Sanders. It didn't matter. The 83 Darryl Green. London was slicing and dicing that Commander secondary up. And Bijohn Robinson was just chewing all through the front seven. I mean, he shifted and shaked and baked and did everything else that he wanted to do. Anything he wanted to do. It was like somebody was controlling the joystick and just hitting the juke button all day long against that front seven. And he had his way. They were just slow. I mean, everybody may disagree with me and be like, man, he does that against everybody. Yeah, he probably does, but he made us look pathetic out there, man. We got to get better, man, with our situation and defensive awareness. Situational awareness and defensive awareness, and Whitt has to call a better game plan. Your guys, for the most part, Amos has been like a top 15 cornerback in the league so far. But he's still a rookie. So he's accessible to fall for some of those moves, and just going up against a veteran, savvy wide receivers, he's got some learning to do also. So I'm going to patch it up as a rookie, you know what I'm saying? But he didn't play bad. He wasn't awful, but it was a couple times out there he looked like a rookie. And Atlanta made sure that they made him look like a rookie. So far this year, a lot of teams haven't been making him look like a rookie, but every now and then you get your rookie moment. You get your aha moment, your rookie moment, whatever they want to say. He got his today. And that's just the bottom line. I thought Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt had a good game, but they don't feed him the ball. And I seen on one play when he allowed the linebacker to come back and then sack Mariota, I see what they're talking about his pass blocking skills. You got to be able to pass block, young man, to get more time back there, to get more carries. If you want to be the number one back, you got to be able to do it all. You shown that you can catch the ball. You shown that you can run the ball. But in order to be a complete running back, you have to be able to pass block. If you can't pass block, what good is you out there? What good is you? Because now they got to send you out there and pass coverage because you can't stay back and pass block. So I don't know. Maybe he need to get more strength in his upper body so he can be able to pass block if he want to have a long, sustaining career in the NFL, because otherwise you're just gonna be a Swiss Army knife type of player. And we had one of those type of players years ago. Forgot the guy name, number 25, used to play for the then team named Redskins. I forgot the little guy name. But you're gonna be like him. And you can't make a whole lot of money just being that type of guy, because you can't do it all. So you shortchange you may have a career, but you're not going to be able to be the guy who you probably envision yourself to be. And that's an every down backer, all around backer. top 5, top 10 running backs, making good money, respectable money in the NFL. If you're just going to, Chris Thompson, that's his name. I had to fill it through. Chris Thompson, number 25 for the Redskins. He was called the nickname the Swiss Army knife, which he was, but like I said, he was limited. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to be a complete running back, you got to be able to pass block. That's highly important. For the second half, let's talk about the second half. Notes do I have right here? Overcoming the 1st and 30, that was a good highlight. That's something that they could build on. They overcame a 1st and 30, which they shouldn't have been in, but that's neither here nor there. They was in it. They overcame it. I already touched on the Bobby Wagner. I already said we looked slow, severely outcoached, especially on defense. Severely outcoached. A little bit of the players, but a lot of the coaching, the scheme. The scheme don't fit the personnel that we have. So that's why we had, and then on offense, I thought last year, going back to Bijohn Robinson, the personnel that we had, the scheme didn't fit him. And so that's why we went with the running backs that we have now, because the scheme is more tailor-made for them. Austin Eckler, McNichols, Rodriguez, JCM. It's more tailored for them. So I feel like that on defense, Joe Whitt's scheme of what they're trying to do is not conducive, and it's not the defense that they should be running out there. That defense is not for them. That scheme. We need to either change the scheme or change the D coordinator. That's just my opinion. Some may disagree with me, but hey, that's neither here nor there. I seen what I seen, and I said what I said. The offense, once again, too many penalties. This coaching staff, quarterback had to do. The quarterback got to be a better leader and take command, get the guys lined up correctly, and know their responsibilities. Sam still, he saved the day with an interception. Touching on Sam still in my notes right here. He saved the day. We needed that much needed interception, even though we only got 3 points out of that because of, once again, penalties, stuff like that. I want to touch on this. How many guys, if you all can answer in the comments, and we all watched the game, how many guys, I counted at least how many times, not guys, but how many times the Atlanta Falcons wide receivers was wide open today. At least 10 times that I say, I'm talking wide open. Nobody within 5 to 10 yards around them, that much open from the nearest defender. Between 5 on average, between 5 and 10 yards. How was they able to create that much space is mind-blowing. It's a head-scratching moment. Again, it goes back to this guy's scheme. Oh, man. And Robinson at one point backpedaled for a first down because he wanted it more. And then right after that, Algier made a guy miss and scored. I mean, these type of things, the effort plays. Missed tackles out there. Can't nobody say preseason. This is the 4th game. So this is the last. Okay, so next week we should be tackling better, right? We'll see. We have to be the most penalized team so far this season. I mean, either we don't have good players, or the referees got it in on us, out for us, and we're just not disciplined. I say a total of all 3. I'm gonna go with all 3 of those damn things, man. This is ridiculous. The 3rd and 1 call, again, questionable. Should have just spread them out on 3rd and 1. Luckily, we got the touchdown anyway in the second half, late in the second half. We should have spread them out and run the ball. We tried to run the fullback or the backup tight end. One of them up that, I can't remember which guy ran it, but we got stuffed near the goal line, and we eventually got it in. But it's just Cliff Kingsbury. Sometimes he tried to be too cute. Think he's the smartest offensive coordinator in the world at times. When I seen the way the formation was, that wasn't going to work. Based on the alignment that the Atlanta Falcons had, I knew that was not going to work. What was we doing right there? Cliff Kingsbury. Sometimes, man, I don't know, man. Sometimes Cliff. 1 minute you looking like the greatest thing since sliced cheese in one game. Then the next game, like I said, against defenses that has a reputation or defenses that statistically says that they do this well, you tend to respect that too much. You tend to not call up certain plays based on the analytics of another team. You know, and my thing is, and let me count on Joe Whitt. Joe Whitt seems to throw the analytics out the window. But Joe Whitt does not take away the team's best player. That's what Joe Whitt does. Joe Whitt don't game plan for the team's best player. He's inconsistent at that because one game he did Neighbors, he took him out of the game, right? He did Crosby. But what about Green Bay game? You know, what about this game? You see the parallels? It's not matching up. You know what I mean? So I'm like, Joe Whitt, come on, man. You and Cliff Kingsbury, y'all got to do a better job of coaching these players up, man, and getting the right schemes in there and calling the right plays. The defense cost us the game. The offense put up a little bit of a fight, but our defense had them in third down so many times especially on one drive when they converted back to back when it was 31-24 and Atlanta had the ball. So many times, man, late in the fourth. And each time they had no answer. Joe Whitt had no answer. He even let Michael Penix, who got a little bit of wheels, get outside the pocket and get that first down. We gave up 400 plus yards and allowed them to connect 4 out of 6 times in the red zone today. Now, I knew last week was kind of a bit for Atlanta I'm talking about, speaking of. Last week when they put up that donut, I knew they was going to come in here and put up a fight. Based on what they did to us last year, you know, when I saw that game, and I rewatched that game, and I knew we was going to have a hard time with Bijohn Robinson. But I thought we was going to have a better game plan for London. You know, Mooney, he got hurt, hamstring. He never came back in the game. So I was like, all right, well, okay. Now all we got to focus on is London. For the life of me, I don't know why they ain't double him. And then the tight end. Their tight end, once again, he doesn't have no success against anybody else. But when he see the Commanders and he sees slow-ass Bobby Wagner, his eyes light up. As every offensive coordinator, eyes light up. And every game this year, Bobby Wagner or Lubu has given up a big play. Every single game. I'm over the Bobby Wagner experiment. He's a Hall of Famer. But his time has passed. We got to address the middle linebacker. If you're not going to roll with the young boy McGee, get somebody with some quickness. We need speed out there on that field. It showed today we were slow. We were slow. Not having hers hurt us in this game. This was a hers type of game. This was a Terry McLaurin type of game. This was a Jaden Daniels type of game. That's what type of game this was. We needed those guys on offense. I guarantee you, we would have kept pace with Atlanta and probably win the game 34-31. It would have still been a shootout like it was last year against that team. But we'd have came on the winning side of it just by having those guys. Now, the players we were without today and it impacted us. This game in particular. Maybe it ain't really impacted us the Raiders game because Terry still played in that game. But this particular game, we needed all our horses. We needed a Noah Brown. You know, we needed a Bates. So Bates, Daniels, McLaurin, and Noah Brown. That's your offense right there. That's your offense. Marcus Mariota put up a fight. Valid effort. Hats off to him. But he's just not Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels, when that defense was collapsing out there, Jaden Daniels would have made something happen with his legs. Extended the drive. Extended the game clock. Gave that defense much needed rest. Because putting that defense back out on the field, no, that game we had to hide that defense. We had to have ball control, move the change, one of those 9 plays, 7-minute drives. That's what we needed. That's what we was missing out there. And that defense was getting put back on that field time and time again, and they just wasn't good enough. In order to keep a bad defense on the field, you got to sustain plays on offense. Got to get first downs. And unfortunately, we was unable to do that. So, no, I'm not happy. Now we go to a San Diego Charger team who's pissed. They're going to be mad. And we got to face those guys next week on the West Coast. Hopefully we get at least 2 of our players back. I'm banking on at least 3. Bates, Noah Brown, and Jaden Daniels. Hopefully. Because we need something other than what we had out there today at wide receiver. Shout out to Deebo Samuels. He played a hell of a game for what he can offer. Without having Terry McLaurin out there, Deebo came to play. They utilized as much as they could, the best way they could, you know. But the rest of those guys got to step up. Luke McCaffrey, he stepped up. I think he caught like 3 or 4 balls out there and contributed on special teams. Luke McCaffrey is a baller. He's a gamer. Somebody who should be getting more playing time. Noah Brown, when you come back, you got to step up. You got to make yourself productive, and you got to be a guy that's out there. We need you, man. We need a tall body out there. Need a guy out there that can block on the outside. Your skills are needed in this offense. Bates, we need you out there. We need all our guys, man. You know, we shown that, you know, we got some depth, but some positions we shown that we're not that good without some of our key players. And we need all our horses back. Get healthy and get right, especially Jaden Daniels. This game had Jaden Daniels written all over. That was the key ingredients. Like I said, Jaden Daniels keeps them chains moving because he goes to Zach Ertz a lot. This game right here would have been a huge Zach Ertz game had Jaden Daniels been playing. I promise you it would have. But anyway, hopefully we get a win next week and go to 3-2. Got a long season ahead of us. Look like the NFC is going to be competitive this year. Philadelphia right now is the cream of the crop. Tampa Bay got something to say about that also. Detroit finding their way, finding their groove back up into things. Green Bay is up there. You know, the Rams, of course, they up there. You know, we got to find a way to squeeze in. All we need to do is just get into the playoffs. Anything can happen. But with that defense, I just don't know. But we'll see. Long season ahead of us. Don't wish no injuries on nobody, but sometimes injuries can affect the team, and it's affecting our team early. Hopefully we get healthy now or towards the middle of the season. Hopefully we get enough wins going on while these guys try to recover, and we can make a push. With that being said, that's all I got for you guys today. It's been a pleasure making this video. I wish we could have been on a happy note, but we're not. But it is what it is. That's it. That's all I have. It's your boy Albert Deezy Sports Channel. Peace.